Hello, and welcome to the top 5 mods of Fallout 4 for April 2023. As usual, this will be a mix of the highest rated mods and some personal favourites. They're also in no particular order, and if there are any mods that you liked that aren't on this list, feel free to let me know. Anyway, let's get to it. I think Fallout 4 is at its best when you're exploring dungeons. Like, the combat is satisfying, the looting is probably the best in the series, and of course the world of Fallout always has a great aesthetic. And so, the Nordic Europa research facility makes the most of all of this, by adding in a great new dungeon that shows off just how well this 7-year-old game can still look and feel. Firstly, this isn't some big new quest mod with new NPCs and dialogue, but instead it offers a new interior to explore and collect loot in, while discovering some nice lore tidbits along the way. Near the Cambridge police station, you'll find the decrepit office building, where inside you'll begin your journey for a secret energy research lab. And probably one of the first things you notice is how impressive the atmosphere is. Now yes, I do have some lighting mods, but the eerie abandoned vibe really stands out, with a great use of shadows to emphasise the creepiness. The path is far from linear, with some areas being locked behind keycards and terminals, and there's no shortage of ghouls throughout, to the point where you'll want to be at high level and stocked up on ammo before heading in. But the risk is worth it, with a plethora of loot to find and even a new settlement to discover. Just great for anyone looking for some extra content that fits seamlessly into the world. Now, I'm not someone who spends a huge amount of time with Fallout 4's settlement system, but I do enjoy making my own little home base that I travel to and from in survival. Although, while I can make a decent house, it always ends up feeling bare with little personality. But with the Snappable Clutter and Display mod, it's far easier to fill out your settlements and make them look like actual places people live in. Now, there are a few mods that do something similar, but what stands out about this one is just how simple and seamless it is. All these bundles of items easily snap to existing furniture, and the new weapon displays offer more freedom than the janky vanilla ones. The only thing is that it's up to you not to abuse it too much, as say when you place down some armour, it doesn't take that armour from your inventory, so you know, there's some suspension of disbelief. But yeah, it's a quick and easy way to decorate your home without the need to place each item individually. As this is a Bethesda game, there's no shortage of great texture mods, but most of the time they either make an object look wildly different, or offer a higher resolution version of the vanilla aesthetic. And while I personally prefer things to look vanilla, there's one thing that always bugged me with Fallout 4, and it's that everything looks too clean. It's meant to be 200 years since the bombs fell, in a world full of mutated monsters, overgrown plants, and irradiated storms. So the fact outside objects are still somewhat vibrant and intact stands out to me. And this is where the mod author HappoMatka comes in, as they've been consistently releasing texture mods leaning on the degraded side of things. This month alone they've released textures for turrets and outdoor capsules, where now they're far more rusted with moss and mould growing all over them. And going back to last month, they also released degraded textures for crates, lockpicking, and various architecture. So if this kind of thing is your style, it's worth keeping an eye on HappoMatka's profile for the future. Last month, I featured the Photon Disruptor and mentioned that the Institute needs more weapons. And 10 days later, the mod author Mikalov was like, hey, how about I give you 30 new unique and well-modelled Institute weapons? So you know, thank you. Different synth and Institute personnel will now spawn with new weapons related to their role, including new swords, Institute rifles, shotguns, snipers, heavy weapons, and so on. All of which stick into the Institute's aesthetic, while looking better than the vanilla ugly white giant cube design. There's also a couple of options when installing. The light version simply adds the weapons to the level list, whereas the full version adds new requirements for using them. As when you loot one of these weapons, depending on its quality, you'll be unable to use it as it's locked with a biometric security system. So with degraded weapons, you can unlock them at a workbench, and with the fancier Institute tech, you'll need to actually join the Institute before you can use them, or find some unique perk magazines hidden throughout the Commonwealth. which I think is great, as I've always liked that the Brotherhood of Steel gives access to cool new para armours, so it's nice to get something unique with the Institute as well. Going back to settlements, the mod author Zorkaz has opened up a few new settlement areas with new items, such as the Buildable Rafts and Settlement mod, which adds a new buildable area in the ocean, with new tiles focusing on flotation, like these platforms with barrels underneath, and scrapped boats turned into walkways. And this also pairs nicely with their Riverside Settlement mod, and the Portable Row mod. Basically, you place 2 boats down at any seaside home, and they act as fast travel points between those 2 locations, so perfect for anyone like me who plays with fast travel turned off. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a like, because it helps the channel grow. Also, hopefully it didn't come across, but my throat is croaky because it's hay fever season, and so I am just constantly sneezing and full of mucus. Yay. Anyway, thank you to my Patreon supporters, Jaden Shaw, Ryan Dillon, Biggie Boss, Tyler Pullin, Janice, Jake Carlo, Dweezil P. Pants, Rook, Alec Bentley, Jack Ma, and Christian Howell. Life's been kinda busy and chaotic at the moment, and so any contributions are so welcome because it means after a tiring day I can actually afford to spend time working on these videos. So yeah, thank you everyone, and farewell.